That was Pete Crow-Armstrong in our open talking about you, Craig. It's obviously a good relationship. You guys both talked about what happened last night after the game. What do you do with Pete in the middle of that game after that happens? Because you know he's a smart kid. He's already mad at himself. Like, did you talk about it with him then after the inning or after the game? How does that go down while the action is happening?
No, I mean, I frankly, I sent Pete a text last night after the game, making sure he was all right, and that's it.
So you don't even need to discuss it during the game because you know he knows better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did you ever forget how many outs there were as a player? Craig Counsell, the player.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened? Tell us a story if one that comes to mind.
I mean, I caught a pop-up and ran off the field. Nothing bad happened in the game necessarily, but, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I caught a pop-up, started running off the field, and because I didn't know how many outs. Now I got saved because it was a different situation. That's happened to every player that's played. Just like we think we confuse, the guy that doesn't hustle to first base. Like, we think every player hustles to first base on every single play. They don't. We just complain about the time when the first baseman drops the ball, right?
Yeah, but that's, it's interesting because two people got removed from games last night, or didn't get removed, excuse me, but two people forgot how many outs there were. The other one was O'Neal Cruz in Pittsburgh, but there was a hustle issue and the manager removed him. And not asking you to comment on that, but Pete's mistake is not one of not hustle or not. It's just
it's just a mistake. I mean, it's just a mistake. That's all it is. I mean, it's a mistake. And to we don't want to make mistakes. Nobody wants to make mistakes. Pete doesn't want to make mistakes. We make mistakes. We're human. If you think there's a reason why he would make those mistakes again, we'll try to figure out a way to coach it better, and we'll try to figure out a way to help Pete. I don't. It was a mistake that was made, and you live with it. We're not perfect.
After a couple of really strong months of Jameson Taillon, the last couple of outings have been rough. Is there anything that connects the start from last night to the start versus Milwaukee from your point of view?
Well, I mean, J-Mo's a command pitcher. Like, the command is extremely important to him. And last night, sometimes the game is, did you get away with your mistakes? And he did not get away with his mistakes last night. And so that means, there's two things. You try to just make better pitches, and it's something certainly J-Mo's capable of. I think you always go back and look at your pitch selection. You always go back and look, am I getting predictable? Those are things that are evaluated kind of post every start. So you continue to do that and continue to find maybe patterns you're falling into. But I think, J-Mo, his walk totals are so low because he really commands every pitch, and he has to pitch on the edges of the strike zone. And he has to give hitters different looks. And so we just got to get a little more, we just got to get a little more fine in those areas. That's what leads to good performance for J-Mo.
The edges of the strike zone. Yeah. So one of those homers was on 0-2 and got a little too much of the plate, right? It's it seems to be a difficult thing to try to throw everything on those edges, especially 0-2. You want to have competitive pitches. You don't want to be too far out of the zone, but you can't catch too much of it. I guess that's pitching.
Yeah. I mean, I think on 0-2, it's actually easier. I think on 0-2, it's easy to be pretty aggressive out of the zone. On 3-2 and 2-2 and 2-1, then the 2-0 throwing a changeup, away and not right. That's when it's hard, right? But it's something J-Mo's been really good at throughout his career.
So speaking of, hitting the edges of the zone, the broadcast the other night was talking about Ben Brown as not necessarily throwing competitive pitches or throwing non-competitive pitches
on 0-2.
On 0-2. So that's why it's coming to mind as a parallel. Is that part of the challenge for Ben? Is to make sure he throws competitive pitches, even in those situations?
Yeah, I think that's we kind of define that as like making the hitter responsible for every pitch, right? So a non-competitive pitch, it's like an automatic take for the hitter, right? He's not responsible for the pitch, so it's like you're playing with 3 balls or instead of 4. And so that's always a key, I think, attribute. If you watch some of the great pitchers, it's what they do so well is that their misses are a ball outside the strike zone or a ball below the zone, a ball above the zone. Those are their misses. And Jamo's absolutely great at that. He's very good at that. But that's what you see some of the great pitchers be able to do. And the misses never, bounce in the dirt, right? It's below the strike zone, so it's really hard to hit.
With a young pitcher, does confidence in command have anything to do with that type of situation where you might have a young pitcher that says, man, yeah, I know that I'm supposed to throw something that's close, but I don't want to put us in a bad situation by giving up a big hit on 2 strikes?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is what it is. I mean, I think command is, it's a trickier skill, and we would certainly measure it. But it's a skill and it's a talent, right? And it's developed over time. Also, kind of improves over time with pitchers generally. So it's something that's in the development process of just thousands and thousands of throws.
Did you consider the bullpen for Ben instead of AAA, and why was AAA the best choice?
Well, I think from a roster perspective, it's the best choice. It's how we're navigating these games. I think continuing as a starting pitcher is the best choice. Keeping him on a consistent work schedule, which is the between game schedule, which is just as important. Probably an opportunity to limit some innings here a little bit for a little bit of a stretch. So all those things I thought made it important to be a AAA to be the option.
How has Shota's rehab gone? And I know that he's been on the trip. How good has it been to have him be back around the major league club?
Yeah, I mean, rehab is for anybody. I think it's kind of a painstakingly feels a little monotonous, right? But I think Shota sees the end of the light at the end of the tunnel here coming, and he'll take the ball tomorrow and ready to go. So we're happy that he's back. Happy he's back with the team, and I know he's looking forward to pitching tomorrow.
To get someone back like that is really important. How far can you push him over the next couple of starts, or is he full go, no limitations?
No, I think we'll be cautious. Certainly, the first couple starts. I think anybody coming off rehab, you're going to be cautious with that.
Craig Counsell with us here on Spiegel and Holmes on 670 The Score.
Known tater tot hater,
oh
Craig Counsell.
Oh, my God. The Orida people are on the hotline right now, dropping their sponsorship. I don't think they have a deal.
They do not.
No, they do not. You're safe. Craig, can you feel if anxiety is growing within a clubhouse? Like when, do you have an anxiety thermometer? Or like, do you walk around like wonder, checking in on that kind of thing? How does it concern you in that regard?
No.
Okay. But humans, you are one. Like anxiety can show up and rise, and it can affect people. Are you worried about your guys getting anxious when a couple games under 500 for the month, 3 other teams playing real well in the division, losing a game like that?
No.
All right, Lars, would you like to throw 3 more questions about anxiety at the man?
No,
but I mean,
wait, I'm gonna say like Craig.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No.
I do. I am interested though, like from a manager's perspective, what the last week of baseball has been like because of the oppressive heat element that has been in play. So, Craig, what's that like for you? Like, what steps do you take with like the training staff, or is all that stuff kind of presented to you instead of you directing it?
No, I mean we have certainly. Our team nutritionist and our strength and conditioning staff is kind of all over this part of it. And, Yeah, I mean, Frank, it's Shota's game tomorrow. It's been hot. It was Saturday and Sunday at Wrigley were extremely hot. I think you saw the umpire, one of the Mariners pitchers, a ball boy, unfortunately, that were affected by the heat. So you do everything you can, and just realize that it's hot, and you try to just keep a closer eye on the people, the catcher, the pitcher that are affected by it. And that's the best you can do. I know tomorrow here in St. Louis, the day game, the night game, the night makes a difference for sure. The day game tomorrow is going to be a super hot one.
What was the hottest surface that you played on?
The artificial turf surfaces. I mean, this was famous. St. Louis was famously one of the places, in the middle of the summer when you'd get it on the turf. That was, probably one of the worst places for sure on the turf in St. Louis.
Yeah, those things, like, you start to look back in like old baseball highlights, and
man.
you can see the haze like coming off of it, and then you'll see like the thermometer on the field, and it's 115 on the field versus it being like 95
Sure.
for anyone who's walking around.
And Craig, I could never tell if it was Old Bush or Riverfront or Three Rivers or the Vet. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, no, the same. All big circles, every stadium.
All big concrete circles with fake turf. Yeah, for sure.
So Craig, listen, we have Nico on every week, and we love Nico, and we've been saying as a show that June was going to be the month where he would hit the home run. He gets the home run last night. I'm hoping for more because I had it set at 3.5. How good is it for a player that's been doing everything else that he can to help you try to win to know that he got the ball up in the air and got it out of the ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a player who flirted with zero many years in his career, just not having zero there makes you feel pretty good.
Flirted with zero. Was it a romantic kind of flirting? I mean,
that's anxiety, Speaks. You know what I mean? Like that's anxiety.
I got it.
This other stuff, not anxiety.
No, okay, well, that's good.
Well, there's 80 more games to be played, so there's not a lot of anxiety that you have to necessarily. We're probably more anxious. People who are Cubs fans, people who are Cubs observers might be more anxious about this than the actual clubhouse.
But the thing is, like, the anxiety, I love hearing that it's a no. Because even for fans, this is what you want, Craig. Like, you want to have a good team going through a baseball season. I mean, the Mets just lost 9 of 10. The Yankees lost 9 of 12. This stuff happens worse than it's even happening for the Cubs, right? This is baseball that's happening right now.
Yeah, it's a season, and if you sign up to be a baseball fan, the great part about signing up as a baseball fan, and the great part about baseball seasons are, it's a ride and it's a roller coaster, and it means you're built to withstand the ups and the downs, and I that's what you should love about baseball. It really is, that you're willing to kind of take that ride of all the ups and downs of a season, and the journey of it. That's the greatest part about our sport, and you got to survive that, and you got to thrive in it. It's the fun and beauty of our sport.
See, that's the goods. That's the goods right there. 1 home run in 2008 in 110 games played. I wonder when that one came. When the one came, it's a big deal to get that one.
2000. I don't remember.
Okay.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I should.
No, that's our job.
I feel like you're kind of picking on Craig right now.
No,
Speaks.
I'm not. I don't think so.
All right.
He didn't like the no answers. You didn't like them.
I did, actually. I enjoyed the hell out of those. Actually, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. Hey, when Pete decides to bunt last night, it's a tough spot, and you explained it after the game. It's against a lefty, and everything like that, and all it could. I guess my question is, for a young player, is that a choice that at all can be something that ends up compounding from the earlier mistake? Like, one mistake leads to another one, that kind of thing. Are you concerned at all about that from Pete?
Look, I mean, I think in the bunt, we were concerned about the result of the play, right? If the bunt's a good bunt and we tie the game and it's a base hit, like we love the play, right? Pete, I give Pete some freedom there, and this is a play that's definitely we'll talk about it today. Pete and I will talk about, but it's a tough call. Like I think, sometimes the player walks up there and the player knows best. I mean, what are you trying to avoid there? You're trying to avoid a strikeout, right? How do you feel against the pitcher, right? He was swinging the first at bat, took a strike. Not very common that Pete does that actually. In our runs in any at bat, but especially with runners in scoring position. So I think he felt like the best way for him to get the run in might have been a tough at bat for him was to hopefully take a bunt with him. He didn't execute the bunt. That's unfortunate. That's really the thing that just didn't happen. He just didn't execute well.
Matthew Boyd goes tonight. He's been really good. What's been the reason why he's been so good?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matthew's got some deception to him, and it's not just like it's good stuff too. I mean, and the fastball changeup combo is challenging for hitters. There's a big speed discrepancy, and he did for lack of a better word, the pitches just look the same coming out. So that's where he's great at getting some swing and miss. And his fastball kind of plays up in the zone, so he can throw it up and kind of beat hitters, and it's a lot of lazy fly balls. And then he just really knows what he's doing. I mean, the kind of thought with Jed and Carter and everybody signing Matthew Boyd is this is a good pitcher who's just unfortunately hasn't been able to stay healthy in his career. And we thought we were well positioned to get a healthy Matthew Boyd, and that's been an effective Matthew Boyd.
It's a hell of a signing. Craig, good stuff. That answer on the beauty of the sport and wanting the season to be this much fun and be the roller coaster, that's great stuff. So thanks so much. Go get him tonight.